Good afternoon, my name's Jane Sanders. I'm a specialist lawyer, 44 years old, and this afternoon's vlog is just to give you a bit more information about who I am and what I do. I've got some questions coming from my left. They're random questions and they're just designed to give you short snippets about why I specialise. Over to you.
Are you a solicitor?
Absolutely not. I love solicitors. I work with solicitors, but no, I'm not. I actually chose a different route. My route was going to the bar vocational course. It's the final bit of the training right before you get a practicing certificate. So my choice was to finish bar vocational training and get called to the bar. My in is Gray's Inn.
Other than a law degree, what kind of special training or knowledge do you have that might apply?
That's actually a really good question. I suppose my background is I needed to bring in funds while I was doing my master's degree. Education is bloody expensive, and effectively I then actually sought and obtained my first and only job, really, my main job, and it was at the Financial Ombudsman Service, and that's where I got my rude awakening about financial services and the issues that businesses that are in financial services and consumers actually face. I actually didn't think that the Financial Ombudsman Service was doing what it was telling the public at large what it was doing. So I got fed up, and after challenging from within, I actually took voluntary redundancy and I whistle blew. And the rest is history. I've been working in the industry offering specialist legal services ever since 2008 now.
What is your approach or philosophy to winning or representing a case?
Well, representation, yet again, you have to understand that as an unregistered barrister, not a solicitor, and not a practicing solicitor, there are certain things that I can't do. The framework for that legislation is the Legal Services Act 2007. It's just basically my governing law that says what I can't do because I don't have that practicing certificate. So if I'm going to represent somebody, I would need to see what the forum is for resolving a dispute. Bearing in mind that solicitors, barristers, any type of person that involves a dispute is there to assist with resolving that dispute. But nowadays in the UK, we've got lots of different ways that we can resolve disputes. Before you get to litigation, by going to the Financial Ombudsman Service, by going to any of the other Parliamentary Ombudsman Service about disputes. So when it doesn't touch on litigation, I have the qualifications and the permissions to represent a person before a decision maker. So I can represent people to the Ombudsman Service because my business, JSCS, has claims management permissions conferred on it by the FCA. If I'm going before a bank, not a problem because they aren't an authority. It's not litigation. If I need to go before a judge, I will generally seek the services of a practicing solicitor, or I will hand my case over to a practicing barrister. More often than not, though, I'm the best at running my argument, so we will try and find a way to resolve any dispute before we get anywhere near a judge.
What law firm do you work for?
It's not actually a law firm. It's a specialist legal services outfit. Let's call it that. JSCS stands for Jane Sanders Commercial Solutions. It's a small enterprise. I'm the only fee earner, and it's a limited company. Let's just say that it's a limited company for tax purposes, but it also means that it's a regulated entity, i.e. the FCA regulate the company, and there are quite heavy restrictions on what you can and can't do as a claims management company, and all of those restrictions are there to protect consumers. On the reverse of that, I also work with a lot of businesses, and those businesses, it might be a high street bank. I've consulted to a private bank of one of the four main banks. I've worked with any number of networks, IFA networks, and if I'm dealing with any of those cases, then I would be dealing with that on a representation basis. So I might be called upon to represent a business that has an issue with the FCA, or I might be might need to represent them to their PI insurer because they've got a dispute about coverage. If I'm dealing with a consumer, then it could be called an alternative to legal services, because in actual fact, if it's something that can be resolved without going to litigation, I am perfectly qualified and fully insured to carry out those legal services. And if it goes anywhere like the Ombudsman service, again, claims management permissions allow me to do that. The twist is you're actually getting a barrister, because I can call myself a barrister, quite legitimately, with specialist skills in financial services to assist you on your case. Not all claims management companies can profess to have the same thing.
In your opinion, what skills and strengths do you need to be a good lawyer?
Ooh, that's a really good one. Skills, you need to be able to talk, and you need to be able to move quite quickly. Brain-wise, you've got to be able to respond quite quickly, particularly if you're in a fluid situation where a situation changes like that. If you're not able to think on your feet, you're going to end up letting your client down. That's not a good position to be in. You also need to be relatively organised. Now, to be fair, I'm not that organised. Let's just say I have a creative head. I love strategy. The bigger the problem, the better it is. But in terms of strengths, you've got to be able to take a kicking. And it's fair to say that the nature of what I do, and certainly since becoming involved with a group of individuals that are part of the caravan industry about 18 months ago, I decided to step out from behind the shield of the internet and expose who I am, to the public at large, because I felt that there was some help that I might be able to give those people. And the absolute battering that I've taken about my failings, my inability to do this, as I will say to any person that comes into the legal services industry, if you're not thick-skinned, leave now. Because people are cruel, people are nasty, they will deliberately seek to expose your weaknesses, and they will seek to use them against you. So if you are coming into legal services, keep your head high, do your very best, and be honest with whoever you're working with. Stand you in really good stead, and it makes other people look really stupid.
What is your favourite part of doing what you do?
Problem solving. Absolutely, I can't beat it. I live and breathe providing strategies for larger groups of people, and I love taking on cases and making a difference where other practitioners, these so-called real lawyers, bearing in mind that it's not just consumers that have an issue with referring to me as a MVQ lawyer or something like that. It comes from other practitioners. So I have the best fun actually providing solutions and implementing them in circumstances where they wouldn't know where to start. And that's what I love best about my job.
What is your least favourite part of doing what you do?
Paperwork. Hate it. And I hate it because I do an awful lot of work pro bono. I offer my skills to an awful lot of people because I can see that otherwise they're never going to get any assistance. And in terms of what happened when I became FCA regulated and the business became FCA regulated, the amount of compliance and paperwork and information that you've got to demonstrate on a daily basis it's increased unequivocally. And it means that I have to dedicate an awful lot of my day to dealing with that paperwork. Bearing in mind, this isn't a bad thing, because that paperwork is there to demonstrate to my regulator that I am complying with the obligations imposed on the business. But it is very heavy and it's very demanding, particularly when I am the only person that has the qualifications within the business to actually carry out that paperwork. So I teach the people under me to assist me, but I take full responsibility for everything within the business.
What's the strangest way you've picked up an instruction?
Oh, now there's a question. This is where I come with a twist. Let's be frank about this, ladies and gentlemen. The archetypal stereotype of the barrister is somebody in a gown and wig, in the High Court, Chancery Division, in a suit and addressing the court. In actual fact, what I do is it's removed from that, which means I get to exercise so much latitude. Somebody came to me after I whistle blew on the Financial Ombudsman service, and as I said, I gained a bit of a reputation for myself. Didn't have all the qualifications that I've got now, but it meant that some people had thought, well, hang on a minute, we know that this is going on, so maybe we'll see if she can offer any help. And as it happens, I offered somebody help, and the first case that I ever dealt with, St James's Place actually settled for £238,000 for that particular client. Now, considering I haven't even finished the bivocational course, that was no mean feat. Second of all, as a result of that win, the individual from St James's Place that had actually dealt with the complaint came to me and said, I have a case that I think you might be able to help with. And this was dating back to 2010, 2011. As it happened, that particular case was against the private arm of a high street bank, and I handled that case and we got a very nice result, thank you very much. When that had finished and when I start looking out for more work, bearing in mind that we didn't really have a website that worked, I got in touch with the CEO of that private bank and said, do you want me to show you how I resolved that case and how I beat you? So I ended up being called in to be interviewed before a panel of stakeholders at the private arm of one of the high street banks, and they took me on to consult them on a specific issue, which I can't disclose because we've got an NDA in place. But suffice it to say, that was one of the sneakiest instructions I've ever got, because to do this, you've got to have an entrepreneurial mind and you've got to have balls. And I have absolute confidence in what I'm able to do. So, after winning that case, I simply got in touch with the party that lost and said, do you want me to show you how to plug those gaps? And I do it day in, day out.
What's the biggest lesson you've learned whilst doing your career?
I've learned that my clients are incredible. The ones that I really do get to pull the cat out of the bag, they're with me forever. And more often on a defensive basis, those are the clients that I keep forever. Even if they end up losing their business, I will move hell over earth to actually get them a result that they can live with. That's what I pride myself on doing. In terms of anything else, if I had to say something to myself, it would be, don't you dare give up. Don't you dare listen to what these people are telling you. And the biggest lesson that I learned is it's not just ordinary people that can be mean or derogatory or racist or fattest or anything else. People will go to the ends of the earth to put you down. And I'm incredibly proud, notwithstanding a mental health issue or anything else that's come out of 12 years since I've been doing this, and the 10 years of study that I put in before there to get there, I'm still here. And I'm still in business. And long may it continue. Well, I'm coming to the end of this Q&A now. I just wanted to say that this Q&A not only gives you a little bit of a flavour about who I am and what the business is, and it tells you a little bit about the circles that you can move in. What I would say to anybody is network. I never did it. I'm now mixing with people that I should have been mixing with, that would have made my career so much more palatable and enjoyable had I done it, not been such a recluse. And I would say that this industry and the industry in which I work is really small. And you can find that you end up working with somebody that you met 6 years ago, and they've come across your path again and they've heard about a case that you've dealt with, and you take an instruction on that basis. And I can tell you, it never gets old for me taking a paid instruction from somebody who's putting their faith in you to actually do your best for them. Bearing in mind that even practicing barristers, even practicing solicitors have had the audacity and the temerity to try and put me down in circumstances that I consider is absolutely unforgivable because they should know better. I have the greatest fun when I take an instruction from a paying client and we hammer the opposition. Love it. It's fair to say that this Q&A gives you a little bit of an insight into who I am, but it also might be useful for those budding lawyers that aren't sure where to go with this, that fancied a career in law. And there are different ways that you can fulfill your obligations and your career aspirations. So come and have a look. Click, subscribe. There will be more of this going on, and I'd love to hear your comments. In fact, I'd really like to do a Q&A from budding lawyers that want a bit more information about a lawyer with a twist. So let me know what you want to talk about, and I'll come back and feedback. This is Jane Sanders, 17th of March 2020, over and out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Cheers for now. Bye.